Hi, I'm Coach Erin. Today I'm going to talk to you about the 4 C's of communication. This is going to help you become a better communicator and get your message across whether you're in work or you're in your personal life. This is really important because it's the framework, it's the ingredients of what you need to be a great communicator. This is something you can write down and come back to time and time again. I use it with my one-on-one clients or when I'm giving a workshop in a large group. I have found it to be very effective. Sometimes we don't even know what it is we need to be striving for to be great communicators. That's why these 4 C's are going to give you just that. So you can know, if I work on these 4 things, I'm going to become better at communicating, which is the goal. The first C of great communication is content. Content is king. The second C is clarity. The third C is confidence. And the 4th C is connection. That's the ultimate goal of great communication, is being able to leave your audience feeling connected, feeling inspired, feeling moved, feeling even sometimes convicted to do what you need them to do, but creating some type of movement through connection. That is the ultimate goal. So we start off with the first C, which is content. And content, like I said, content is king, and you have to believe in what you're saying. I know that that might sound like a duh kind of thing. Of course you need to believe in what you're saying for it to land, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't believe in even what they're saying. They're allowing their fear, their lack of knowledge, maybe their lack of practice, maybe their belief systems to hold them back and not believe in that product, that message. So I want you to get really clear and understand if you're presenting in a way that shows that you believe in what you're saying. Do you really believe in the words that are coming out of your mouth? What's your why? What's your why for selling this product? Why would it help you? Why would it help your audience? Why? Why does it matter? This is a really key part of being a good communicator, because you can practice all the technical skills in the world. You can practice your pitch, your pace, your volume, your emphasis, your pause, your body language. These are all technical skills of public speaking, and they're very important. They're very helpful. But if you don't believe in what you're saying, you're going to have a hard time making that connection, getting to that 4th C. So starting with really believing in the words that are coming out of your mouth, because your nonverbal energy and the words you select are going to be able to transfer that belief. And you've had a feeling where you've known and you've watched somebody and you're like, I don't believe in what they're saying. They're not being either authentic or they don't believe in it themselves. And that's not going to be very convincing. It's not going to be great leadership style. So you really do have to believe in it. I give the example of one of my clients who had to give a presentation about something that they really didn't have a lot of excitement for. It was a safety presentation, and that wasn't their area of expertise, but they had to give the presentation to their staff, and they had to make it believable. They had to make that content sound like it was in their own authentic voice, that it was something they really valued, and so that their team would value it as well. So what we did was we used a little bit of mindfulness questioning to find a way for that client to get a little bit deeper into their why. Why would it be important for them to talk about safety? And what we ended up connecting it to, this I think is a cool example, is that they were running a facility, and we thought about, okay, safety is important. We're talking about slip and falls here. So if somebody slips and falls in the facility, and why would that matter? And he started to think about his spouse, and if they were having a day where they finally made it to the gym, they finally were there to work out, they have 1 hour, they have to get in and out, and that their partner slips and falls and then has a head injury, and then they're in the hospital. And then we started talking about, wow, okay, this slip and fall, it's important because we want to take care of the people we love. We want to take care of those that are around us. We don't want somebody to slip and fall. And once he was able to connect with that why, the value of what he was saying just shot up. And that transfers to your audience. So you got to sometimes get a little bit deeper if it's content that you aren't super excited about. Maybe it's harder for you to speak on. Get really connected with a bigger why or a deeper why behind it, and that might help you with the content. Next is clarity. Are you being clear? Sometimes clarity also means being concise, but a lot of people will give me feedback about maybe a supervisor or a boss that they've had that wasn't very clear. They'd have meetings and they'd think to themselves, what did we just talk about? I don't even know what that meeting was about or what it was for or what we're supposed to do from it. So that communicator isn't being clear. And especially in leadership, being clear is being kind. We want to be clear. How do you be clear? How do you cultivate clarity? You have to prepare. You have to take time. Just like if I was driving to a destination, I would want to set that destination. What's the goal of this communication? If you can't answer that pretty quickly, pretty clearly, then you don't know where the communication is going. You're just gonna wing it, and you might have to take many different turns, many different routes to get to where you want to go. You haven't set the destination for yourself, and therefore it's going to be harder in your communication to get to that end result. So we want to take time to prepare. This will help you be more clear. What do I want to happen at the end of the communication? What do I want them to buy? Do I want them to do what I need them to do? This tells me if you struggle with clarity, you also struggle with strategic communication. And that's a whole nother video. I have a whole video on my channel about that, and you can check out strategic communication and my 4 steps to more strategic communication. But that's where you're gonna work. Clarity is the next step. Once you have your content, you believe in your content, clarity is going to be your next step. These are in order. The next step, and why these are in order, is when you work on the first 2, content, clarity, and you've spent some time in those 2 areas, developed them, you're automatically going to be more confident. It just comes naturally when you do the first 2. Now, confidence also comes from practice. We become even more clear when we practice, but that confidence is that piece that really develops when you practice. Where do you practice? If it is a high stakes presentation, or you're running a big meeting, you're giving a big sales pitch, you should practice. Practice out loud. Record yourself. Practice when you're walking, you can go through your speech. Sometimes when you're driving, I'll run through my speeches. I'm practicing my voice. This is an instrument here, your voice, and practicing out loud is going to be the best thing for you. If you have a supportive friend or partner, maybe you practice colleague, maybe you practice in front of them. It's often very helpful to go into the space where you might have to give the presentation, practice there. Running through it 1 or 2 times before a high stakes opportunity of communication is going to be really, really beneficial for both your clarity and your confidence because you've run through it before. Now, if you don't have time to practice out loud, you can also do a mental rehearsal. Sometimes I'll lay in bed before a big presentation the next day and I'll run through it using relaxing breathing techniques. I think that's really important too, to calm our nerves. But I'll use the correct breathing techniques and I'll run through what we call a mental rehearsal and visualization. Now, the more you're detailed with this, the more you get into all your senses, what it would look like, sound like, smell like, feel like, all the different senses that you have, the more you make it real for your brain, the more likely it is that you're going to perform. This is a performance way we perform better. You're going to perform to your ideal state. And that's really powerful too. I still think using your voice is going to be the first thing you want to do to practice. If you can't do that, then you can mental rehearsal. You can also write it down. That's another way to practice. Write down your bullet points. I'm not big on holding notes. I'm not big on scripts, especially for our business and personal communication. Usually we don't need to memorize because that can sometimes trip you up. But knowing your general concepts, what I call bookends, knowing how you're starting, knowing how you're ending, those are going to be really, really important for your communication. And then if you can get a little bit of bullet points for the middle part, not only will you be able to sound more organized in your speech, you'll be able to focus yourself while you're speaking because you've already planned this outline in your speech and you won't be planning it as you're going. Those three things, if you do all three of those, content, clarity, and confidence, work all three of those C's, you will get to connection. Connection is where we're putting our authentic voice and our emotions into this communication, where we're being real, we're being honest. People connect to that. It's also when you're thinking about your audience, where you're not thinking and communicating in a way where it's all about me. People also, they can sense that. And I know you've had examples where you felt like you were being sold to, you felt like somebody was just oblivious to you, to how, like, this doesn't affect me or this isn't valuable for me. Like, if your audience is feeling that, then you haven't taken time to consider your audience, to put yourself in their shoes. What are they experiencing? What are their goals? What are their aspirations? What do you think they want out of this communication? What do they need from you? And so thinking about your audience is going to also help you connect with them more. These are your 4 ingredients. This is a great place to start working on your communication. This is going to be your framework. Every time you have to give a big speech, have an important conversation, write down these 4 C's. Make sure you're working them the week, the couple days prior to having that opportunity to speak, and have fun with it. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And breathe well, live well, speak well.